Do this for 21 days and your consciousness will never be the same. George Gurdjieff. In October 1922, at the Prieuré-des-Basses-Loges, George Gurdjieff gathered his closest students to reveal something that would change their lives forever. What he was about to teach was not a theory. It was a practical method that, in just 21 days, could awaken capacities dormant in human consciousness for millennia. Gurdjieff looked at each of them and spoke a phrase that would echo through time. In 21 days, you will discover that you have lived your entire lives asleep, and will finally awaken. But what Gurdjieff revealed that day challenged everything known about spiritual development. This was no ordinary path. It was revolutionary. What you are about to discover about this 21-day method will change your perception of reality forever. Because thousands of people have already experienced this transformation, and the results are impossible to ignore. The origin of this revolutionary method dates back to Gurdjieff's secret journeys through the hidden monasteries of Tibet and Afghanistan. It was during a harsh winter in 1896, lost in the Hindu Kush mountains, that he made a discovery that would change everything. Gurdjieff had been separated from his expedition during a snowstorm. Without food, without shelter, on the verge of death. That's when he found a cave inhabited by a dervish who practiced something extraordinary. The dervish performed a specific practice every day, for exactly 21 consecutive days. Gurdjieff observed, fascinated, how this man seemed to operate in a completely different state of consciousness. If this journey is resonating with you, leave a like and continue with me on this extraordinary discovery. What the dervish explained about the 21 days forever changed Gurdjieff's understanding of human transformation. But what Gurdjieff discovered about the number 21 and its relation to consciousness will shock you. The dervish looked into Gurdjieff's eyes and revealed a secret kept for centuries. The human being possesses 3 centers of consciousness: intellectual, emotional, and motor. But these centers operate disconnected, like musicians playing different melodies. There is a sacred period, the master continued, where through a specific practice for 21 consecutive days, these centers can be harmonized. It is the minimum time needed for consciousness to awaken from its deep sleep. 21 days is the time nature takes to create a new pattern. Just as the moon goes through its cycles, human consciousness can be reprogrammed in 3 weeks of conscious practice. Gurdjieff understood at that moment that he had found something revolutionary. It wasn't vague mysticism. It was precise spiritual science. Have you ever noticed how your mind, your emotions, and your body seem to live separate lives, rarely working in harmony? What happened in the next 21 days transformed Gurdjieff from seeker to master. Back at the Prieuré, Gurdjieff had refined and adapted that ancient practice for modern man. The method was both simple and profoundly transformative. The practice consisted of 3 specific exercises, performed in precise sequence, for exactly 21 consecutive days. Each exercise activated one of the 3 centers of consciousness. The first exercise was called self-remembering. For 5 minutes, 3 times a day, the person should simultaneously observe their external environment and their internal state, creating a divided consciousness. The second exercise worked with emotions through transformation of impressions. For 10 minutes daily, the person consciously transformed negative impressions into neutral energy. The third exercise was conscious movements, specific sequences of gestures performed with total attention, connecting body and consciousness. What happened to the first students who practiced this method challenged everything Gurdjieff believed was possible. Katherine Mansfield was one of the first to experience the 21 days. On the 10th day, she wrote in her diary, "Something is awakening in me. It is as if I am being born a second time." On the 21st day, she had an experience that changed not only her life, but Gurdjieff's understanding of human potential. P.D. Ouspensky, skeptical and intellectual, initially resisted the method. But after 21 days of practice, he wrote, "I discovered that there is a part of me that has always been awake, observing everything. Now it no longer sleeps." Thomas de Hartmann, the composer, reported, "On the 15th day, while practicing the movements, I felt a connection between my music and something much larger. It was as if the entire universe was a symphony and I finally heard my part." Comment on which of these transformations impresses you the most so far. But it was Jeanne de Salzmann who had the deepest experience. On the 21st day, during the practice of self-remembering, she reported, "I clearly saw that I had lived my entire life as an unconscious machine. For the first time, I was truly alive." Gurdjieff, you have discovered that you can be present in your own lives. This is the difference between being alive and being conscious of being alive. Gurdjieff observed that, invariably, something extraordinary happened between the 18th and 21st day. It was as if a new quality of consciousness emerged. The scientific discovery Gurdjieff made about this 21-day period changed our understanding of neuroplasticity decades before modern science. What Gurdjieff discovered through direct experience, modern neuroscience has confirmed. 21 days is approximately the time needed to form new stable neural connections. Contemporary research shows that conscious practices performed consistently for 3 weeks create measurable changes in brain structure. Gurdjieff had discovered this empirically a century earlier. Today, thousands of people around the world practice modern adaptations of this 21-day method. The results are consistent: greater presence, reduced emotional reactivity, and a feeling of being genuinely alive. What would your life be like if you could maintain a state of full and integrated consciousness throughout the day? Sarah, an executive from Sao Paulo, reported, "After 21 days of practicing self-remembering, I realize when I'm operating on autopilot and can choose to be present." Marcus, a teacher from Rio de Janeiro, "Conscious movements changed my relationship with my body. Now I feel like I inhabit my life, I don't just exist in it." In his later years, Gurdjieff reflected on the transformative power of this simple method. He had seen hundreds of people awaken to a completely new quality of life. The 21-day method was not just a spiritual practice. It was a technology of consciousness, a precise map to exit the sleep of unconsciousness and enter awakened life. If you decide to embark on this journey, start with just 5 minutes of self-remembering 3 times a day. Simultaneously observe what is happening around you and within you. Maintain this divided consciousness. Add 10 daily minutes of conscious transformation of impressions. When something irritates or disturbs you, breathe and consciously transform that energy into neutrality. Complete with simple conscious movements. This could be walking while paying full attention to your steps, or performing everyday gestures with complete presence. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications for more transformative methods from the great masters of awakening. Gurdjieff, you have 21 days to discover who you really are. The question is not whether it works, it's whether you have the courage to awaken. Your 21-day journey to transformed consciousness can begin now.